Our senior advisor for foreign policy and national security, the former acting director of national intelligence, Ric Grenell, is joining us now. And I can't think of a better time, Rick, to have you on because we saw this news story break last night. After the special masters appointed, the left goes nuts. So the next step in Washington, the FBI then leaks, and what appears to be the leak out of the FBI right to the Washington Post about what documents they've got, which, of course, to me, Rick, undercuts the whole classification top secret part because if they were that concerned about it, I don't think they'd be talking to the Washington Post because the jeopardy that would put them in with handling these documents, talking about the agents themselves. But yet we see, again, out of the FBI and these intel agents leaking to Washington media, Rick, and they're leaking what is supposed to be our nation's top secrets.
Yeah, first, a couple of points. One, they're leaking a document which they're criticizing President Trump for because it was too sensitive. So it's too sensitive for President Trump to have, but they're going to leak it to the Washington Post. It doesn't make sense. The second point is, of course, we've got that same anonymous person, someone close to the situation is how they describe him. We don't know who this person is. We don't know this anonymous person. We don't know their motives. But what we do know is that Anonymous has been so wrong with the Washington Post for so long. Remember, they're the ones who said Donald Trump was a Russian agent. They're the ones who said that the FISA warrant was legitimate. They're the ones who said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, and they're the ones who told us that Kim Jong-un was brain dead. So this anonymous person who keeps leaking to the Washington Post is really playing the Washington Post. They need to have more scrutiny, and the editors at the Washington Post should be ashamed of themselves how they keep pushing anonymous intel, which over and over proves to be wrong.
Rick, the thing that's hit me kind of, right between the eyeballs on this as someone who lived this for a number of years is it's like, here we go again. So, a judge comes out with a decision that says, you know what, this is sensitive stuff. As a former president involved, there's the current administration that's authorized this. I'm going to appoint a special master to review the documents, not judging the constitutionality of the search warrant, just the documents. And then left goes on this attack of the judge, who, by the way, prophetically puts in footnote 13 that she was concerned because there are at least two incidents, government admitted, where documents that were deemed privileged from the taint team ended up over at the investigators. And then she put in, and there's been no evidence of any corrective measures to fix it. And then so they attack the judge, and they love attacking judges. They attack Justice Kavanaugh. They attack the Supreme Court justices because of the Dobbs case. Now they're attacking this judge because of a procedural decision appointing a special master. So then what the government does is let's leak it to the Washington Post to show how serious this is at 9 o'clock at night, prime time, so there's something else to talk about on the news. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, it's just more proof that the FBI leadership really needs a gut renovation. What they're trying to do is hold the information, not have any outside sources being transparent about it. We have a system in the United States where transparency and double checking and scrutiny is supposed to be a good thing. The FBI has proven, the leadership has proven to be so problematic when it comes to accurate information and putting forward nonpartisan prosecutions and investigations that the courts are now saying, let's have an outside entity like the special master. Let's have an outside entity try to bring some sanity and double checking to DOJ and the FBI because they won't do it themselves.
Chris Wray finds out about that he's got this agent, the assistant agent in charge of the D.C. Field office, who was, squelching the Hunter Biden evidence, and then, part of the authorization of the 2020 investigation of the former president. And that agent's gone. And Christopher Wray's words are, I found his comments deeply troubling. We have a judge that had anti-Trump statements on his social media a couple of years back, now becomes a magistrate judge, recuses himself from a civil case involving Clinton and Trump, and then signs a search warrant, for the former president's home. doesn't recuse himself from that, that's not a constitutional problem. But from a civil case, he has to recuse himself. So I look at all of this, and then you got the leaking now, and the judge says special master, and the swamp reacts, and Washington reacts. And I'm thinking to myself, we have been in this fight for decades. And boy, and you and me and Jordan know what it was like the last, 6 years, let's say, of what was going on. But you were the acting director of national intelligence. You were the director of DNI. You were the DNI. What is going on with these agencies, Rick? Is this just these people embedded in there, or is it a leadership problem, or all of the above?
It is a leadership problem at DOJ and the FBI. What we have is a comfort level with being partisan. Washington, D.C., remember, has voted for the Democrats more than 90% in an election. So the bureaucracy is extremely left. And so the leadership becomes very comfortable with having partisans within their system that are attacking Republicans, especially Republican presidents. And it only is when we raise it to a level in the media with the center-right media, with organizations like ACLJ, when we put it in front of them and present it as, look at this person who's being totally partisan, then you get years later someone like Chris Wray saying, oh, I didn't see this until now. Well, the big question is why? Why didn't you see this partisanship when it's right underneath your nose? And the answer is because he's partisan, because he's comfortable with all of these the same people giving him the same information, and he's not interested in dissenting information. That's the real problem in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, I wanted to get to some two of the politics going on. But before I do that, I wanted to get to a little bit about Europe, because Europe is facing what looks like a massive energy crisis that could also be coming here. That implicates our national security too, of course, but also the cost of just doing business. So we saw, because of Russia announced that they've cut the Nord Stream 1 pipeline that so many European countries were reliant on. I mean, we've seen prices reported increases 1,000% a month in bills. This seems like it's going to be very serious, and one issue that the administration probably doesn't want a lot of Americans focused on right now as they lead into midterm elections, but it's right around those midterm elections that people start turning on the heat.
Look, I think that this energy problem in Europe and the energy problem in places like California, there's a simple solution. That is increasing the supply. We've had too many partisans that have decided to get rid of the traditional energy sources like nuclear energy or oil or coal, and instead just have green energy resources, renewable energy. Now, we all know that renewable energy is part of the solution. We should have an all-of-the-above strategy with energy. But when you put partisans in charge, like Gavin Newsom or Angela Merkel, and they begin to get rid of the large traditional sources of energy, they put the public into a terrible situation. We in California, just like in Europe, are being told to conserve constantly energy rather than having leaders look for additional supply. This is pretty simple.
So, Rick, I'm following that up. I mean, the situation, how do you view right now? You've got this situation with Ukraine. They're supposedly making some counteroffensive. How does this play? We're going to be going into the, I mean, it's still hot in most places of the country, unbelievably so, but we're about to go into, we're just weeks away, months away from winter, and we're going to be back in at the time when the war can get more aggressive over in Russia and Ukraine. How do you see that playing out right now, and what are the geopolitical implications of this kind of stalemate right now?
Yeah, I think it's becoming not just a Cold War, but a lukewarm war, because it's a lot more active. Putin now sees that he gets to weaponize energy. He's now talking openly about Nord Stream 1 and what he can do to dial that back to try to get Europe to change its policies. Again, Europe put itself into this situation by getting rid of the traditional forms of energy. Yep. Now they're over-leveraged. Putin is going to take advantage in any possible way as we go into the winter months. They've put themselves into this situation, and they've got to climb their way back out. by having more supply.
All right, Rick, as always, we appreciate it and appreciate you joining us with all this information.